Hi everyone, it's Nat here. Hope you're all doing well. I'm on for my second tutorial for Globleland with the goodies that I've got this time around. So today we're going to be using this set of circle punches and also this set of fruit wax seal stamps. So it's going to be heaps of fun. So what I might do is grab out my scrapbook paper scraps, which I have next to me in this big tub, and some other scraps, and just punch a whole lot of circles first, and then they'll be ready to go, and then we can figure out what we're going to do with them. And that's the hard part. So it should be fun. I love these fruit stamps, so I'm interested to see how they turn out. We've got an apple, grapes, pineapple, and some orange. So I thought they will be fun. And they come in this beautiful little carry case as well with a handle for them and another spoon, which is great. It's always good to have plenty of handles and spoons if you're doing big projects with your wax seals. So firstly, I've got my circle punches here and I'm cutting piles and piles of circles out of my scraps. Now you can see there I'm taking the little plastic bit off the bottom that usually catches the circles. I prefer not to have that on so that I can just cut them straight into my storage container. So they're cutting very nicely, and I'm cutting it out of scrapbook paper, book pages, and some scrap cardboard as well, just from cereal packaging. So most of the scrapbook paper scraps I've got there are from the secondhand shop or marketplace when I've got bulk loads of craft items. I haven't used a lot of scrapbooking paper in my journals and that yet to have that many scraps, so these come in really handy when I want to use some pretty pattern papers. So I've finished cutting out heaps and heaps of my circles, and I'm starting off with the smallest ones here, and I'm just applying some glue to my packaging and then putting the pattern paper on the top just to make it a bit more sturdy. So I do that with all of the pieces I've got there, and then I put them to the side to dry a bit. So once they're completely dry, I've grabbed my Dimensional Magic and I'm just applying that to the top there. I'm just holding the circles with my tweezers, which is the easiest. Now these I will put aside and leave to dry overnight. So now I've got some of the bigger circles and I'm doing a similar thing. I am applying the glue and sticking my pattern paper or book page on top. And I just do a pile of these. It's a great way to use up your scraps of paper and your scraps of packaging as well. These are not backed onto the packaging, they're just the paper circles, and I'm just arranging the colours together in a format that I like. It was looking a bit like a wriggly worm, so I realised if I put it up against the side of the paper underneath, I can make sure it's sort of straight. So I'm just making a page embellishment here. So once I'm happy with my placement, I can just apply a little bit of glue to the end and stick it onto the one above. And try not to stick it onto the paper underneath. So I will go off once these are done and just do a zigzag stitch down the middle. So I've got the smaller circles there and I'm adding a few of those. There's so many ways you can use circles to make nice embellishments for your journals. And I've got some of the even smaller circles there. So I'll put them aside to sew. So now I've got one of the pieces of packaging that we covered with the scrapbook paper, and I'm just measuring out where I want to put some holes. And I'll punch those with my hole punch. I want to make some big button embellishments. I've made little buttons like this before, but I haven't made bigger ones. So if I put the first one atop another one, I can just use the holes as a guide to make some marks for my next lot of holes. And then I realise if I put one on top of another, I can just punch two holes at the same time, because some of these I'd like to layer up. So here are a couple that I want to layer. So I'm just applying glue to the little one and putting it on top of the bigger circle, just making sure that I line up the holes. Then I'm using a bit of my scrap thread to tie through the holes as an embellishment. So I do leave some of these just singular buttons as well, because I think they look nice too. Another great way of using up my end scrappy bits of thread that I can't seem to throw out. Just roughing up the ends of the string a bit so that it goes all fluffy. I like that look. Then I find some of my brown cotton. I want a few strands, so I grab some that I think will be long enough. And with this I want to tie a bow, although the cotton's not very long and my bow tying skills are not up to par. So I will try again. Now, I'm very sorry about the blurriness. Sometimes my iPad does that and I don't realise. So now I'm sticking a small one on top of a big one and punching a hole in the middle, and I want to put an eyelet in the hole there. So I'm just finding a suitable one. I have these little daisy ones and I thought they would look nicer. Now I just press it in gently with my crocodile there because I want a bit of give in between the circles so that I can wrap a bit of string between them as a closure. So I end up making a couple of these ready to use. So now we're on to our wax seals. So you can see that I've punched some of the circles and put them in my silicone mat there ready. I want to use them as the base of my seals here. So I'm using my fruit stamps. And I've just got some transparent wax there to try out first. And I'll just tip that on top of my paper. And then press the stamp in. I haven't tried this before, so I thought I would give it a go. And it turns out really nice. So I continue that with my other fruit stamps. It's a citrus one there. So that's what I've ended up with. Now I'm just using some red wax there to do the apple. And I repeat that with a few of the other stamps as well with some different colours. So you can see what I've done there so far. And again, sorry about the blurriness before. So you can cut it with your scissors. So I go off and do some fussy cutting for the night. And I've got these little pieces there. I'm going to do some inlays, which I've tried once before, not very successfully, and I thought I'd give it a go. I'm not very good at it, but I don't mind showing you that. Heaps of fun to try though. So I'm melting some green wax now, and I'm just tipping that on. You can see that I've put the bits I cut out back into the stamp, and I'm adding the green wax into the bits where the leaves are. Now that one, yeah, I made a bit of a mess of that, so I pulled it out in time and the wax was still wet enough for me to just clean it off like that. So I'll try it again. I'm determined. Trying to smooth it out with the palette knife, but I don't do a very good job of that. But I did have a bit of a good idea previously that I'll try next time I do this to see if it works better. So third time lucky here, and I'm pretty happy with that. So I'll just put it to the side, not mess around with it too much. So I'm going to repeat that process with my apple. And then again with my grapes. Now it's quite messy, but I figured that I can do it I'd rather do it messy than keep ripping it out and all that. As long as I get a good imprint, that's the main thing. So the grape and the citrus is good, but the apple just needed a bit more doing. So I thought I'd add a bit more wax and see. And so I can see the imprints of the leaves all right. So I go off and do some more fussy cutting to cut out the leaf shapes. So now I put them back into the stamp again. So I've got the apple there that I'm putting back into the stamp. Looks like it's in there all right. And I'm just melting a base seal colour there. Put that into my silicone mould. And then gently turn it over and my apple falls out. So I just quickly put the stamp on top and press it in, but it looks real messy, so it's not the way you're meant to do it. I thought I'd go slow-mo there so you could see it happen in all its glory. So take it out, and it's still malleable enough for me to pull the apple out, but I can't clean it very well. So I figure I'll try it again. This time it stays in for me to turn it over. But it's still pretty messy, but it's in there. So now we're going to try again with the citrus. Go slow, looks good. And that is much better. I'm getting there, I think. So I'm doing the grape next, and I love the colours I used for this one. Fingers crossed. Yeah, love it. The base seal wasn't nice and round, but it's still really cool. So next I have used a bit of purple paper just to whip up an envelope shape here. I want to show you how I would use some of these embellishments that I've made. So I'm putting my circle embellishment on that I have now sewed down the centre of, and then I've got the closure there that we made, sticking that in the middle. And I can wrap the string around my envelope to hold it shut now. So that's how I'll be using that sort of thing. So we're all done for that crafting session. And the first thing I did was cut out a whole lot of circles with this 4-pack of circle punches. And I have stacks left over. Now you can just stick a whole heap of circles together to make clusters. And that, which I'll probably do in the future, and I was going to do. But as usual, I have 10,000 ideas in a limited amount of time and deadlines. So I thought I'd better get things done. So we cut out the circles in scrapbook paper, music paper, text paper, and also in some packaging. And then I stuck some of the circles onto the packaging just to make them more sturdy. And I will start with the buttons. So I thought I'd make some big sort of button embellishments. I have made a whole lot of button embellishments before with your regular sort of little circle size. So I didn't do any with that this time. But I will do a whole pile in the future and probably show you. And they always turn out really nice. But I thought I'd do some bigger ones. So I've used the packaging and then stuck the scrapbook paper on top. And then just tied some scrap thread through there as an embellishment. You could even add pictures and all sorts of labels and that to these because they're so big. This one we've got book page and music paper. I inked around the edges just so that it defines the edges a bit more. So these can be just stuck down to a page or a pocket or something that you want to decorate. I think they're very cute. You can use them as little closures too because they're sturdy enough. So you could stick them onto a pocket and then the flap could be tucked in behind it. So that would be another good use. This one's got a bit of string in there. This one's quite sweet. Doesn't matter how much I try to get circles sort of even within each other. They're always over to one side a bit, but that's all right. And then this smaller one. So you can see there it was breakfast cereal packaging. Great way to use up scraps, that is. So there's the buttons. Then I decided I did make some long embellishments, so you could use these on the side of a page as a decoration or in the center as a belly band or just to decorate other things, which I have gone ahead and done, which I'll show you in a minute. Well, you saw that before, but you will see it again in a minute. I also made some of your wraparound closures that you can use. Put it on a page and wrap your twine around and then wrap it around the center there. I just use eyelets for that. Again, these are bits of paper that have been stuck onto the packaging to make them nice and sturdy. I've got a few of those. And then I decided I'll show you how I would use these things. So I've got one of my strips of circles there, and I've just decorated this envelope that I've whipped up with a piece of purple paper. And then I've used one of my closures there to hold it shut. So you can just, if you get it the right way, you can just take that off and open it up. I haven't stuck it together yet. Might even leave it like that so I can put it into a journal, open it up and journal on the inside. So that way you can just do that to close it. And that's how I'd use the closures, and one of the ways I'd use these embellishments. I nearly forgot to show you my little embellishments that we made right at the start. So these are your tiny little circle punch there. This is a great way of punching out the little areas that you would usually throw out when you're punching out of your papers. So these negative bits I don't throw out either. I'll use these to make embellishments. I also use them for stencils. So I stuck them down onto my scrap card as well, and then I used my Dimensional Magic to put the glossy coat over the top, and they're going to make beautiful little embellishments that I can stick onto things. So I love those, and I've just gone and ordered myself some more of the dimensional glue stuff to be able to make more of that sort of thing, because I really love it. So that's what I've done with my circles, my circle punches. And then we decided to use the fruit wax seals. Now, did I have a bit of fun with them? I'm learning so much patience with all this crafting. So we have some plain wax seals that I made, which are here, and I love the stamps. They're absolutely beautiful. I'll try and zoom you in so you can have a bit of a better look at them. But they turned out really nice. It's the apple and the grape and the pineapple there. So I have to invest in some more wax colours to do this with, because I didn't really have the colours I wanted for this, but I did persevere. So the next thing I did was, again, used the circle punches. I used this size and put them down underneath some of my clear wax to put my fruit on as well. And then I just coloured it in with my alcohol pens. So I've got markers that are your alcohol inks. And, oops, better off keeping it down there now. And they turned out really cool. There's a citrus, the grape, pineapple, and the apple. My favourite would have to be the citrus, because I love the pattern paper that I put underneath that. Now, it's not completely transparent, so it's hard to see some of the pattern in that. That one's not a perfect seal, but yep, still getting used to doing these. Really love those though. And then I have tried inlaying my wax seals before, and I'm not very good at it. So you saw that I did try again, and had a few disasters along the way, but I did persevere. So that was the first one, which is my apple. And when I went to put the apple into the base wax seal, it did fall in there. And then I just pressed it down. I didn't like it, so I was able to pull it out and pull the wax off and then try again. But it ended up just being really messy. So yeah, I really like my apple though. So, you know, at that stage, it's like, do I give up? Do I keep going? But I did persevere, and I did my citrus. Now, not perfect, not the right colours, but a lot better. So I did the seal on the sort of orangey colour first, then I fussy cut the citrus out, put it back into the stamp, and then I tipped some of the green on to get the leaves. That was fun too, with me with my palette knife trying to scrape it off to get it smooth. Does not happen. And then I thought, well, it doesn't need to be too smooth anyway, because we're sticking it into this base one. So, and then yeah, I put it back into this stamp and then try and tip it carefully onto the base seal wax without it falling in there. And that one turned out a lot better. So I am getting there. I'm really proud of myself for trying. Now, my wax seals didn't turn out perfect, but I still really love it. I'm getting somewhere with it. I think with a bit of practice, I'll have some nice wax seals doing this. So that's the grape. And I think they're my favourite colours. So that was heaps of fun. I taught myself heaps. A lot of fun using all the product from Globleland. So thank you so much, Globleland, for letting me showcase those. They were heaps of fun to use and will be wonderful in my future journals. So the links to the products I've been using for the last 2 tutorials for Globleland are down below, as is the link to their shop if you want to go and have a look. There's also my coupon code, which is NAT10 if you want 10% off of your order. So have some fun, be good, and I will see you again soon. Bye.